Hello, I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So we have lots of great stuff to go over. You know, it's a new year, lots of new things happening, and the market is really pretty stable when you come down to it. It's great for buyers, great for sellers. So it's really a good time for everybody. The interest rates are coming down a little bit, and actually they've been coming down for the last 9 weeks from the latest report and everything that I saw. So that just helps everybody out, and that's just a really good thing. Now, looking at the stats in regards to what happened last week is that there were 321 homes that sold last week, which is not really a big surprise because it was Christmas week and all of that kind of good stuff. It was 361 the week before. The median price of a single-family home stayed the same at $415,000. And basically, the inventory actually decreased by 136. And so that's what's going on with single-family homes. When you break that down in the different price ranges, under $250,000, there were 25 homes that sold. Between $250,000 and $300,000, there were 30. Between $300,000 and $400,000, there were 87. 79 between $400,000 and $500,000. 87 between 500 and $1 million, and 13 over $1 million. And then when you're looking at the months of inventory, we're at 3.82. So, 6 is kind of a normal market, so we're still a little bit below that. All categories up until 500 to $1 million are in the threes or less, and then 500 to $1 million is at 5.27, and over $1 million is at 9.23. Because it was kind of a low week because of all of the holidays, and this week will be as well, because Monday was a holiday as well, then it's still going to show a little bit, down when it comes to those kinds of things. But basically, we're still in a normal market, or less than a normal market. It's more of a seller's market at this point in time. However, homes are staying on the market longer. The average days to contract right now is at 49. And so that's what's going on with that. The list to ask price or list to sale price is basically at 97.14. This week, under 250,000 was right there with it. And the only one that was below was below that kind of 97 was the one that is over $1 million, and they were at 93.95. So you have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to that, which is just kind of normal because, there's a lot more inventory there. So you obviously have a lot more that you can negotiate. And usually under 250 has a lot more wiggle room too, because usually those homes need work, but that didn't happen this week. And so that's, what the scoop is, but you can just keep that in mind if you're looking for that kind of a property. So then when we're looking at condos, townhomes, and villas, there were 105 that sold last week. That was 126 the week before. And the median price was at $265,000, which again was pretty similar to the week before. And that inventory went down by 93 and is sitting at 42. So when you're looking at the numbers there and you're looking at the total number of, how many are under 250, there's a lot more of them in that price range for condos, townhomes, and villas. Obviously, of the 105, 48 of them were under 250. Then there were 15 between 250 and 300, 20 between 300 and 400, 11 between 400 and 500, 8 between 500 and $1 million, and 2 over $1 million. So you can see, if you're not in that under 250, that there's, not as much competition and everything there. The months of inventory for condos, townhomes, and villas for that week is sitting at 5.37. And when you get to over 400,000, actually 300,000, you're over 6 months. So 300 to 400,000 is 6.92. 400 to 500,000 is 7.57. 500 to a million is 7.33. And then over a million, it was actually only 1 month of inventory is what it's saying, because there were 2 that sold. There are 9 on the market. So that's basically what's going on there. The list to ask price was at 96.81 overall. The ones over a million sold at 92.27 and 95.28 under 250. So there is a little bit of wiggle room. And the average time to get a contract, not to closing, but just to get a contract on condos, townhomes, and villas was sitting at 60 days, which on the single family homes, it was quite a bit less at a total of 49. So 11 days quicker is what it was on the single family homes. So basically, when you're looking at that, it's like we can see that there is movement in the market. And even with it being a holiday weekend and everything, and a holiday week, I guess, there are still sales going on, still things happening in real estate. It all comes down to that particular neighborhood, what's going on there and everything like that. So even though we're talking in general numbers here of what's going on in Central Florida, it still comes down to your neighborhood, your zip code, all of that kind of thing. And so it's really important if you're looking to sell and you'd like some a second opinion, or you'd like an opinion, just give us a call, and we're more than happy to, help you out. It's free, no obligation or anything to help you out and letting you know, what you can expect to happen on your particular property. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio with you every Sunday at 8 a.m. and Monday at 6. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So the latest thing that I saw on interest rates, which I know there's something that's probably a little bit less, was said that the average long-term U.S. mortgage rate fell to 6.67. So it was probably up to 7.7 or 7.5. So we're almost a whole point below what it was kind of at the top. And like I said earlier in the show, it looks like it has fallen for the last 9 weeks. And so that's something that, that's going to, help out. It says some economists say home sales will increase in 2024 as mortgage rates ease. And that just makes sense. I've been talking about for quite a while that the builders out there do have good rates. They do have in the, 4.87 is some of the best that I've seen. I've seen some 4.99s and all of that the builders are actually buying down the rate so that more people can afford the houses that they're building, obviously. And so, they're making it affordable. And unfortunately, because of all of the regulations and stuff like that, if those interest rates aren't low, then there's a lot of people that can't afford to buy because their ratios are off, meaning that they don't have as much, that they have too much debt or whatever in order to qualify for a loan. So it is really important, and the mortgage rate is very sensitive. There is a lot of cash that is being floated around there that people are purchasing with cash. But the average person, probably needs to get a mortgage. And so the majority of the houses that sell are with mortgages. And so as a result of that, when it becomes an affordability factor that the house prices are too high and the people can't afford them, it becomes really a big deal. So, we're happy that the mortgage rates are coming down, and I expect them to continue to come down a little bit, maybe not a lot, but a little bit, because we are in an election year. And usually, they want everything good because all of the people want to be reelected. And so as a result of that, magically, the interest rates seem to be very favorable and everything during an election year. And so if you are thinking about buying a house this year, I think it's a good time to think about it. If you're thinking about selling, it's a good time too. Like I said, it is a seller's market for the most part. In order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So as we go on here, one of the things that I ran into this week that I thought was really good is that it was talking about U.S. home flipping and kind of, a little bit in regards to what's going on with that. I know that there are a lot of investors out there, and I talk to a lot of people that are looking for houses all the time, and kind of what the reality is in regards to what happens, how much money is made, and all of those kinds of things that happen out there. And Jacksonville and Lakeland are among the most active metro areas for flipping in the nation, actually, at this point in time. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And when you're looking at the country, that there were 72,543 single-family homes and condominiums in the U.S. that were flipped in the third quarter of 2023. So 72,000 of them, which was 7.2%, or one of every 14 home sales nationwide. So there is a lot of flipping going on. There are a lot of times that sellers don't really want to fix up their house, and so they would rather sell it for less money, not have any of the hassle and that kind of thing, and then they would just walk away and all that good stuff. Now, we definitely have our cash offer program, that in our cash offer program, we have over 62 investors, and then we have a lot of local investors too that will take a look at the properties that we have that will potentially, go on the market or whatever. But these people are looking for no open houses, no people walking through their house. They don't have to do any repairs. They can just kind of, move on. And, a lot of times people always think, oh, they're lowball offers. Well, they're a little lower than you would get on the open market, obviously, or if you would go ahead and do all those repairs and that kind of thing yourself. But they're actually not bad. And when you're looking at, how much money everybody makes in general, that this basically goes through in regards to how much they're making, which the way these flippers are going, they're actually doing quite well. Their profit margin is typically 29.8%. is basically what they're getting. And raw profits on a typical flip around the country is 70,000 is what it is. So there is some money to be made, and definitely, taking a house and fixing it up and then selling it and making 70,000. And, usually it says that the average flip time is 161 days. So 161 divided by 30. So it's less than 6 months. So 5 months would be roughly about 150 days. So between 5 and 6 months is how long you're going to be holding on to that property. And then to make 30% on your money or close to it is actually really good. Basically that then when these flippers sell them, what they found is that on average for the country, 10.1% of these houses were sold to people with FHA loans. But in Lakeland, 24.9% of them were sold to FHA loan people. Now, if you are buying a house and flipping it, there are a few rules when it does come to financing, especially with the FHA and that kind of thing, and even a little bit with conventional loans. I'm trying to think right now exactly what that is. But I know with FHA, if there is more than 10% increase in what the people bought it for before, then they want it to be seasoned, and they do want it to be held on to for 6 months before you can get an FHA loan. So that basically is kind of what's going on out there. And basically, it says that 62.9% of the homes that were flipped were purchased with investors with cash. So what's happening is that these investors are going in there with cash. They're fixing up or whatever that they need to do. Paint, flooring usually are the main things. A lot of times they're going to do something to the kitchen or to bathrooms are the main thing. Roofs are something that obviously are really important here in Central Florida. And so they do those kinds of things, and then they can make a return on their money. So basically, when it's talking about this, the thing that I don't exactly know is it says that the profit margin is 29.8, and that's the difference between the median purchase price and the median resale price of the home flips. So the thing that they're not talking about in here is how much money that they're spending on repairing it. So the profit margin that they're getting, I'm sure, is not 30%, but they're, it's probably significantly less. It probably comes out to probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15% on most flips is what they're going to be getting in 6 months' time. So if you're getting that in 6 months, and then if you did it twice a year or you multiplied it by 2, then it would be a 20% return on your investment. So actually, it still is a great return on your investment, even if it is 10%. But this article is saying that the average one is getting 29.2. So if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio. And remember, if you'd like to reach us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. And I was talking earlier in the show where I was talking about the average long-term mortgage rates dipped for 9th straight week. And basically what it was saying is that the average is 6.67 roughly now. And the interesting thing to me that I didn't mention earlier, and the reason I'm bringing it up again, is because a year ago, the average rate was 6.42. Now, it went all the way up into about 7.4 something or other, but now it is back down to that 6.67 and not too much different than what it was the year before. On a 15-year fixed rate mortgages, it is 5.93, and basically a year ago it was 5.68. So we're a lot closer than where we were quite a while ago. So I thought that was really interesting and something that everybody should know. And basically, when I was also looking at some of the things that the builders are all saying, is they were expecting that everybody was going to start running into their shops and all that kind of stuff with the interest rates going down. But as I've mentioned many times, the builders already have a lot of times, a lesser interest rate because they're buying it down is basically what's going on and everything. So basically, they're not having everybody drop everything to run in there because they kind of already know that. But if you don't know that, and it's not on all houses that a builder has, usually it's their inventory homes and that they've already built or that they're almost done building and they want to make sure that they sell them. So if you go in there and contract for them to build a house for you that's going to be ready in 6 months, 4 months, something like that you pick everything, you're not necessarily going to get those great rates on it. And it's not with every builder either. So, if you are looking to do that, just give us a call. We'll help you out with that and find the right product in the right area at the right interest rate, and that's all good. So basically, one more thing that it comes to with stats that I wanted to get into real quick is that it said that basically that the closed sales from this year to last year are up a little bit higher, 4.2%. So we've been pretty steady. The prices have gone up slightly, but everything in general in Central Florida when it comes to real estate, in my opinion, is looking pretty good. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So one of the things that I talk about quite a bit is insurance and how that affects it, because basically when we go to sell a house or we sell a house, the bottom line is that insurance is a big factor. It affects basically, how much of a house that people can afford, because it goes into one of those payments that gets included in their ratios of how much they can afford. And so when insurance is high, when interest rates are high, and all of that kind of stuff, it affects affordability quite a bit. So there was this report that came out that said that insurers say reform sparked improvement in the market climate. And, we've just had doom and gloom when it comes to the insurance market in Florida, because there has been a lot of fraud that has happened, in regards to, and a lot of litigation and all of those kinds of things. So as a result of that, the insurance rates have just continued to go up, up, and up. And I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that, I just renewed my insurance, and I was pleasantly surprised that it hadn't changed. And when I was talking to the agent and she looked at it and she was like shocked, she was really surprised that it hadn't changed. And so I was thankful for that. But, the legislation did some reforms and that kind of thing to try to get things under control. And the things that they did, it looks like it's working. And it says, a year after the attorney fee statute was reformed during a special legislative session in December of 22, several insurers said that they were beginning to see fewer lawsuits filed against them. And so, and new cases from Citizens, which is one of the Florida insurance company that is owned by the state, it said they declined 17% during the first 10 months of 2023. So I thought that was a positive thing when they're not getting sued. Obviously, there's a lot more opportunity for them to charge a better rate to all of us. And they said that they think that it's gotten back to an insurance market rather than a fraud market. And that's what they hope to see continuing. So they're able to predict payouts after storms, known as risk modeling, had become impossible prior to the reforms because of the high level of claims of litigation. So what would happen is that there would be a storm coming through, and then an insurance claim would deny maybe a 20-year-old roof or something like that. And so the people would get sue the insurance company. And so then that just takes time, money, energy, and all of those kinds of things. The people would end up getting their new roof, and the insurance companies would pay double, triple, quadruple, or whatever than what they would normally pay, even if it was a claim for the roof. So basically that's kind of what was happening. And so basically what they say is that they've stopped the bleeding. So I think that's someone's quote, obviously, but I think that when it comes down to it, stopping the bleeding when you've got a problem going, obviously we can all agree that that's a good thing to happen. So basically what it sounds like is happening is that the insurance market is starting to settle down. They're seeing slight changes that are improvements, and so that'll happen to improve all of our rates. And that's kind of, one of the things that when I'm out there selling houses, which I do every day, is that we find that some people are, a little bit turned off by property taxes and insurance out there, and that's kind of just the name of the game. And when it does come to property insurance, it's really important that you're working with people that know what's going on, honestly, because when you're looking at property insurance, at property taxes, is that they are going to reset when the home is resold if it's sold for a different amount than what it was sold for before. So, most of Central Florida and everywhere, really, the prices have increased since 2020 for sure. I mean, we've stayed pretty standard through 2022 and 2023. We've stayed pretty much the same. So if you bought a house that somebody bought in 2022 and you're buying it now, your property taxes could be pretty similar, outside of homestead and all of that kind of good stuff. But if you bought one from somebody that say they pay $300 for it, and you bought it for $400,000, you're not going to keep those same property taxes. So, to me, in a lot of the things that are online and all of that, and they're showing the property tax number, it's not really a good indication of what it should be. There really should be something in there, in my opinion, that says this is what your taxes are going to be based on what the current tax rate is and all of that kind of stuff, if you buy this house for this amount of money. And if they did that, then you can look at the taxes that are, there for somebody. If somebody's owned their home for 20 years and it's homesteaded and maybe they're paying like $1,000 or $2,000, and then because they bought the house for $200,000 and now you're buying it for $500,000, basically the bottom line is that your taxes are going to be maybe $7,000, maybe $8,000, maybe $6,000. It's all calculable and it's very easy to figure out, but you can't be naive about thinking that the property taxes are going to be the same as what the previous owner paid. And that's, one of the fallacies out there that we definitely educate all of our buyers and everything on, but everybody's not aware of that. And we were talking to some sellers just a couple weeks ago, and they were shocked in regards to what was going to happen with the property taxes when they sold it at that price, because it did affect a buyer that was buying it that decided that maybe that wasn't the right house for them because of the property taxes that are out there. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. And basically, one more thing on the property tax that you can do yourself and everything is that you can look at what the millage rate is, for that particular house. And, because all of the tax records are public records on many of the county sites, on the property appraisers, they have, property tax calculators in there that it says if you're going to buy the house, this particular house for this amount of money, this is going to be the range of probably what your taxes are going to be. And so you can look at that and you can see what it is and pretty much plan in regards to what the taxes are going to be and if it's going to be something that's affordable for you or not. Now, one more thing about taxes that is critically important: if you are a Florida resident and you are living in the home that you purchased, you want to make sure that you've got homestead for 2024. And you had to purchase it in 2023 or previously, and then you have to apply with that county by March 1st. So do it now if you haven't already done it. I always suggest that when you're buying a new home that you go ahead and you get that tax deduction, that you get that homestead, situated right then so you don't forget about it. Because if you do it March 1st or after March 1st, then basically what happens is it's not going to take effect until 2025. And so what you want to do is that you want to get it as soon as you can. So you might want to check to make sure that your home is homesteaded. If you're a Florida resident and you're living in the property, then those are the main requirements. So you just have to get them, different documents like your driver's license and things like that show that you totally are living in the property and that kind of thing. And then you're going to get that homestead exemption, and that'll save you a lot of money over time. It'll just save you money for this year, but it kind of locks it in that you they won't increase the taxes over 3%. And then you get a little bit of a discount. So it's a win all the way around. So just don't forget that go ahead and go after your county tax assessor, and they'll help you do that with no problems. But in order to get in touch with us, call or text 407-566-2555. Find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Laura Peterson, your host of Central Florida Real Estate Radio on News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and to discuss the sale of your home, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So basically, another thing that's gone into effect right now, and it doesn't affect many people out there that are listening, but it's just interesting to know, is that there is the foreign buyer registration rules went into effect on January 4th. And so basically this the rules for certain foreign principals to register certain land they directly or indirectly own in the state of Florida. So this was a law that was passed several months ago, and a foreign principal who obtains equitable title by executing a real estate contract with the obligation of closing to obtain legal title within 90 days has to register the real property that is the subject of the contract and within 30 days of acquiring legal title. And then a foreign principal who obtains equitable title by executing a real estate contract without the obligation of closing to obtain legal title within 90 days has to register the property that is the subject of the contract within 120 days of acquiring title. So basically, this comes into that it was something. It's not all countries. It's different countries that are subject to this. So basically, I don't know. It's a very complex law. It says that basically you need to talk to your attorney to find out, if you are from a foreign country and you own real estate here, if there's something that you need to do. And basically, I know that, it comes as a result of just protecting the assets of the government and the state and all of that kind of good stuff. So it's a good thing. It's a new thing. But basically, it just comes down to, dotting your I's and crossing your T's if you are from another country, and that'll all be great. But one thing that I ran into that I thought was very interesting was whether people should rent or buy, and that is the question, right? So there's a few pros and cons in everything, no matter what you do, if you're going to rent, if you're going to buy, whatever it is. And so when you're looking at the pros of renting, number one, it's flexibility. You can relocate easily. When you are renting in the state of Florida, there are two things that you could put on your lease to get out of it. One of them is that you will continue to pay the rent, or you will pay as damages the whole contract, or you can mark it that you will pay 2 months rent to get out of the contract. And so there is that option on all leases that I've seen. And so that's something that, with just 2 months, paying 2 months penalty of the current rent, you can get out of it and move on. The other benefit is maintenance and repairs. That repairs and maintenance is pretty much done by the property owner. So they typically handle it. There are minor things, and I've seen a lot of leases as well, where the tenant is responsible for certain things when it comes to repairs. So you just want to make sure that you check your lease when you're going into it, if that's something that is a concern to you. The cons of renting are limited control. You have limited control over the property. You might need permission to make changes or improvements. Most likely you do. And you don't have any equity building. Renting doesn't build equity. Monthly payments go towards the landlord's income rather than an investment in property ownership for yourself. And then the pros of buying are equity building, that the homeownership allows individuals to build equity over time. As the mortgage payments are made, homeowners gradually own a larger share of their property. And then in addition to that, the thing that you get is the appreciation. So in the last year, we haven't had any, we've had minimal appreciation, I guess. They said that it went up like 0.3% or something like that. So it has gone up, but not a lot. But if you're looking at 3 or 4 years ago, it's gone up like 15 or 20%. So appreciation is something that definitely happens when you've got that more than likely. there might be little dips here and there, but the longer you hold on to the property, the more appreciation and the more chance for appreciation you're going to have. Then another pro of buying is personalization. Homeowners have the freedom to personalize and modify their living space without seeking permission. That includes renovations, landscaping, and other improvements. The cons of buying are upfront costs and responsibility. So you have to have upfront costs, including down payment, closing costs, and ongoing responsibilities such as property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. A lot of those are built into your payment that you might pay to the bank. But basically, not necessarily the maintenance, but there are things that you can do, like get a home warranty that will kind of insure against the big expenses, not roofs, but it would insure against, the air conditioners and all of those kinds of things. And then the cons of buying are market timing risk. The timing of a home purchase can impact its financial success. Again, if you're going to hold on to it for a long time, then it basically will work itself out. Even when we had the craziness stuff that the market was going up in 2005 and 6 to where it was going up 5% a month, and then it finally hit a halt. In my opinion, it was September of 2005. I remember that. And everything just kind of held on for a while, and then it started falling until 2010. But even from those lows of 2010, we have definitely surpassed what they were in 2005 today. And so the appreciation is back if you were able to hold on to your house. I know a lot of people had crazy loans and they weren't able to, but basically the bottom line is that for the most part and for most people, it ended up being a good thing. You just had to hold on for a long period of time until it got until it came back. But, most people that I know when, we're going and we're selling the properties that they have purchased, lately, I don't know anybody, even people that bought them a year ago, they're not losing anything. They might be losing a few $1,000s, because they have a few expenses. But outside of that, everybody's pretty much, made money on real estate. So if you're looking to buy, we always think it's a great idea. But if you're just joining us, you're listening to News Radio WFLA Orlando. I'm your host, Laura Peterson, your home sold guaranteed realty. This is Central Florida Real Estate Radio. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. That's 407-566-2555. So one of the things that I found this week that I thought was very interesting, and it came in regards to real estate agents, because the unfortunate thing is that everybody thinks that if you're a real estate agent that you're all the same. And, basically, I don't believe that that's true. It's not true in anything in life, so why would it be in real estate agents? But the study came out and said that 49% of agents sold one house or none at all in the past year. So, basically what that means is that there are a lot of people that aren't running into, problems. Basically what I look at myself as a realtor a lot of times is actually solving problems, because there are a lot of little things that come up, just like in your job, I think, that, have to be solved, that you have to know what to do. And when you've run into those problems before, it makes it a lot easier to deal with it the second time. And so that's where experience really comes in. And so 70% of the agents out there sold 5 or fewer homes in the last year. So, and there are one realtor for every 102 people living in Florida that have their license and everything. So basically, it's just a thing that I think that really, I feel like all real estate agents can be successful, but basically you've got to put the time, energy, and effort into it in learning the craft, just like you do in anything else. So it's just something that I thought I would throw out there today, and all of that kind of good stuff that I think you need to just really look at the people that you're working with and evaluate them just like you would evaluate any other thing that you do in your life, and it's going to make your life easier. But in order to get in touch with us, you can call or text 407-566-2555. You can find us online at centralfloridarealestateradio.com, and we'll see you next week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.